Sometimes people have what it takes, but they haven't recognized it yet. Just go forward. So what do you need to do? How do you stand out? So what you need to do is be that person that's different and is bigger than you think. Rise from the ashes and fly like the phoenixes that you are. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is Andrew David. This is the High Performance Call with Blake Newbar's team. Some of you are new to this joint. Some of you have been around for a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about needs versus wants. Now, as we look at prioritizing and what you have to do on a daily basis, and you look at time management, this is one of the stumbling blocks. Needs versus wants. What do you need to have in your life versus what you want? And I get this a lot when I do strategy sessions. Part of the reason I push a little bit on goals and when I talk to you about things is because there is a disconnect often in our brain, conscious to subconscious mind, with what we want and what we truly need, right? And then the merging of those at a higher level and how we spend our time. So when I want you to think about this, most people, when they get into a coaching environment, now we put together this whole momentum process program. I do these calls talking with Blake, and we put it all together because there are things that we know you need. There are things that we know you want. And then there are things that we know where those two combine to provide, hopefully, what will get you to where you're looking to go. See, most people come on and they get coaching at the beginning, or they buy a program, or they start something new because they want more time, or they want more freedom, and they want more money, and they want to quit their job, or they want to do this, they want to do that. They talk about travel. They talk about, being able to work from home. We have all of these wants. And then when we hear that there's going to be coaching, there's going to be support, then we want that support to mean that people are going to do everything for us, so we don't even really have to worry about it, and it's just going to happen. Typically, that's what people want, right? People go to a Tony Robbins event because they want to feel motivated and work. People hire a coach, at least a good one, because they want to change how they look when they walk down the beach, right? Or they want to change how their business is. And what that great personal trainer that's hearing you say, hey, I want to look great on the beach, I want to be healthy, I want to be around longer, that's what I want. The trainer is going to talk to you and say, well, what you need to do is change your eating habits. What you need to do is get your ass in the gym. What you need to do is put down that soda and that pizza, and you need to get your butt to work. You go, well, that's not what I want. What I want is to look, no, there's a difference between what you want and what you need. Okay, there's people that get the most out of a Tony Robbins event, people that get the most out of these calls, people that get the most out of any type of coaching environment are the ones that start to recognize that what they need is ultimately more important than what they want. But if they can merge those two elements, it will endow you with a sense of power and purpose to overcome any obstacle that you may have. So how do we look at it and how do we establish what's going on? Because one of the problems is that most of the time when you understand what you want and then you kind of get a hold of what you need, and I'm not talking about, let's be clear, I'm not talking about lowering standards. I'm not talking about lowering goals in order to just meet what I need. I'm not talking about, this whole idea that I grew up with, well, you got to live below your means. Yes, absolutely. But instead of finding a way to just minimize everything in your life, why don't you find a way to increase what your means are so that, you can still be comfortable living below them, but it doesn't put you in an uncomfortable position. Wants versus needs. Income over, or impact over income, purpose and passion over simply keeping yourself busy. There's a reason that those that succeed at a higher level understand inherently that their wants and their needs can match up, can align, and that they can achieve more than they have to this point. And yet we spend all of our time dealing with things that we don't want to deal with. We deal with things that frustrate us, that irritate us, that are just upsetting in general. So there's this great little diagram, we look at wants versus needs. So this comes from Dan Sullivan, strategic coach, an amazing entrepreneur, trainer of entrepreneurs. I've talked about him endlessly. He is absolutely fantastic. In order to join Strategic Coach, you need to generate a certain amount of personal revenue at a minimum. It's somewhere in the six figures. And then from there, it increases and you're end up grouped up with people that are in a similar situation with their business. But Dan is very much one that believes in building on your strengths and finding the support or outsourcing those weaknesses so that you can concentrate and grow effectively. That's one of his big things. So when we look at this ABC model that he calls it, we look at our priorities. You have irritating, you have okay, and fascinating and motivating. I want you to think about your life. Irritating, okay, fascinating, motivating. When you look at your life, where do you guys think you spend most of your time? The vast majority of it? There may be one or two of you that spend most of your time in the fascinating and motivating. Maybe. I'll have weeks at times where I spend time in the fascinating and motivating. I would say that the majority of my time, though, is spent in the okay and the irritating. Irritating, okay, fascinating, motivating. ABC. Everybody do that. What is that vehicle hiding behind the top screen? I'll show you that in just a second. Everybody write that down. Draw that circle out for me real quick on your paper. Hopefully you guys have a notepad, and I know some of you guys have already done that. Some of you guys are excessive note takers, and I freaking love it. So you have your ABC, irritating, okay, fascinating, and motivating. Where do you spend your time? What are you doing? Now, what I want you to start to do, and I'm having you do this right now because just a few weeks ago, I had you look at your goals, your top 7, your top 3, your priorities over the course of the next 60 days, your priorities over the course of the rest of this year. And hopefully, as you propel yourself into the remainder of this decade, you've put up a pathway for yourself that'll lead you to where you're looking to go. This exercise, together with those, if you do this continuously, at a minimum every 90 days or so, you're going to reevaluate. Now, tomorrow, I'm going to go just a little deeper in depth with this. I want you to get the basic picture now. Tomorrow, I'm going to give you a full scale, kind of 1 through 12 of different levels of engagement on each of these for things in your life and things in your business. And I'm going to have a detailed breakdown of each of them. And what I want you to do is kind of think, how much time am I really spending in that fascinating and motivating that's going to help me grow as an individual, accelerate my personal growth, my strengths, overcome the weaknesses, and develop into who I'm looking to be. The stuff that just kind of keeps me busy. It's okay. It's all right. The okay can lend itself to the fascinating and motivating if you develop certain things. But the irritating and the frustrating, be it work, individuals, certain habits that you've got, this is where it goes a little beyond just that want and need. And some of you guys have seen that where it's, urgent and levels of want versus what you need. You've got to be able to understand where you're at and figure out what you need to do to switch. So tomorrow I'm going to give you his full scale. I'm going to give you things to do, and I'm going to give you an idea of how to sit down and judge yourself every 90 days and say, what do I need to get rid of? Where can I modify or outsource the irritating or cut out completely? What can I do to change kind of this okay scenario and increase so that more and more of my time gets put into this fascinating and motivating? Okay. So this diagram, irritating, okay, fascinating and motivating, ABC model. Everybody understand that? Yes? You can think a little bit about it. Because what I'm going to give you is, I think it's here. I'm going to give you this. I'm going to stop sharing that right now because I don't want everybody to jump on it already. So here's what you're going to do. Again, irritating, okay, and then fascinating, motivating. want you to take a look at your life, your time that you spend right now. What can you do to increase the fascinating, motivating? What can you do to eliminate the frustrating, the irritating? And what can we do to either lend the busy, the okay into the fascinating, motivating, or how can we leverage that? Or how do we outsource it to get rid of it? Those questions make sense for everybody. It's a real simple thing. Now, you're at this point right now. We have cut through the irritating, okay, to get to get to the fascinating, Michael. Absolutely. Every single day, you guys can wake up and make these choices. Sometimes you need to be increasingly real and raw with yourself and look at where you are and what needs to happen to make that shift, with the understanding that the shift doesn't happen overnight. You've got to be willing to work for it. Right? I was talking with someone last night. I get to sit and talk with you guys every day at noon. I get to talk business strategy all the time, like something that I absolutely love. I've got myself in a position where I'm never going to have to go back to cleaning carpet or tile and grout or standing wood floors. And look, I'm not flying in private jets. I'm not generating yet those, mid 7, 8, but life's okay. And I get to sit and I get to talk about personal development, and I get to be coached by amazing individuals, and I get to help coach some of you guys. And if I looked at where my life was 10 years ago, 6 years ago, I wouldn't have imagined this. And yet you can work your ass off to get wherever you guys want to go. Because years ago, I knew that I enjoyed teaching because I couldn't keep my mouth shut. I found an outlet for that. Some of you guys may have some passion that you've just kind of set aside for the last 20 or 30 years. That whatever that fascinating or motivating circle is really only taking up maybe 1 to 5% of your life. And you're trying to think how you can flip that so that it's 30 to 40%. How do you make that adjustment? Reawaken some of those dreams, ladies and gentlemen. Grab a hold of it, right? Take some of what you've done over the course of the last, decade or 5, figure out what it is you really enjoyed, and then learn how to apply it to what you're doing right now. Because anything that you love, anything that you enjoy, you can apply to what this is. You truly can. We're now in that place to be able to do that. Jim, I'm not going to show the full graphic. Are you talking about just the little circle? I can show this one, but I'm not going to show the that big full graphic until tomorrow, because I'm going to get more into it then. So think about where you're at, guys. Irritating, okay, fascinating, motivating. The ABC model, right? I'll drop this picture into the Skype group so you guys have it, and then we'll get more into it tomorrow. But on that note, think about where you want to be. Think about how to increase your fascinating, motivating, and lift yourselves up and get yourselves going. All right. Love you. Go have an awesome day. I'm going to end. We'll answer some questions real quick. Sometimes people have what it takes, but they haven't recognized it yet. Just go forward. So what do you need to do? How do you stand out? So what you need to do is be that person that's different and is bigger than you think. Rise from the ashes and fly like the phoenixes that you